I want you to eat 50 hot dogs at once!
Good morning, Misfits. Happy Friday the 13th. Even if you're not listening to this on Friday the 13th.
Probably won't
be. It's a special holiday here. If you are watching on YouTube, you can see that I am wearing the Friday the 13th collection hoodie.
Steal my
Turn around. And then these guys called each other this morning and put on their Suffer, Smile, Endure Skellington shirts.
A FaceTime
and gray
shirt.
pants.
FaceTime shirt. We opened it to my butt.
Gross.
So today we are going to be we're going to be podcasting about podcasts.
Ooh.
Podcastception. Eric Roza was on Talking Elite Fitness. Shout out to Talking Elite Fitness. I thought that Sean and Tommy did a good job of,
really good questions.
I think it was important. It's sort of like, I think their purview is a little bit more on the sport, but it's kind of a big deal to get the interview with him at this time for so many different reasons. So I thought it was cool that we got like a bit of a view on who he is as a person, the sports side, the affiliate side. He touched a little bit on the CrossFit health stuff. But I also think before we get into that, it's high time to talk about like what is going on here. We just got the mask mandate recently. So we are officially, for the first time, working out in masks in our affiliate because we have the 14-foot spacing with the, with the squares, and, people have to sign up and come to class and go to their square and everything. But I don't know, a little bit of a state of the union from you two. I mean, you essentially you guys run the two gyms that we have up here in Maine. So how's everything going? Like where are you at right now with the Rona?
I mean, I can probably speak to you could speak to both gyms, but I'll just Portland specifically. I think bottom line is all the athletes have done a awesome job, both from just kind of adherence standpoint, and I think has to do a lot with just the fact that the time that we spent doing the Zoom classes and stuff made everybody realize that just about anything is not going to be as bad as going back to gym is closed. I need to do Zoom class in my living room because I'll have a very difficult time. I would say something more derogatory, but I would not enjoy coaching a Zoom class in February in Maine. So, and that would limit us hugely in what we can program. Not that we couldn't figure that out. So if it does happen, I know we can do it, but I think everybody's just happy that the worst that it is wearing a mask, and everybody's kind of figuring out people are slowly starting to acquire the plastic insert that goes between the mask and the face so that the mask isn't suctioning to your face and waterboarding the shit out of you while you're breathing your ass off. And everybody's doing have you tried the Athletica mask? Have you tried this the wool sock? That's not a good idea.
Wait,
so
wool socks?
Everybody's
I haven't heard that one yet.
No. You should try it.
All right.
So all the athletes are doing a great job. And then I think probably not more importantly, but the messaging that we've really kind of pushed forward from the coaching staff is one, it's not that bad. Two, a little adversity never hurt anybody. And that's kind of one of our kind of core tenets, things that we like to kind of propagate around the gym, is that resiliency just generally breeds a stronger human, both inside and outside the gym. And that if the worst thing that happens to you is that for 1 hour a day you have to hang out with your friends, but you have to wear a mask and it's a little bit uncomfortable, things aren't that bad, and you could learn a lot from it. Both, again, I told athletes this past Saturday that if you're coming in and you're paying $169 a month and the only thing you're extracting from the gym is an hour of fitness 3 to 5 times a week, you're not getting your money's worth, because everything we teach you inside the gym should have both a physical and mental adaptation and kind of application outside the gym, whether that's, I did a really, really terrible 30-minute workout while I was wearing a mask. I couldn't breathe very well, and then I left the gym and I felt great. That's pretty good. People already seek a little bit more comfort in their daily lives. So to decide to come in here and do something that's already challenging, which is a CrossFit class, and then also stay committed and do it while wearing a mask and just under suboptimal conditions speaks a lot to the people's character that comes in here and the type of person that we try to help kind of create so that you can take those lessons from from inside the gym and take them outside.
Yeah, one thing you guys do really well out there is people make this massive leap to come in here in the first place. Like that is coming in here and working hard and being a part of this is a much bigger deal than you've already come in here and now you have to wear a mask, right? And one of the things you guys do really well is you remind them that they're resilient, because you might have a shitty day. You might have a tough day. You might come in and it was hard enough to get through the door. And the coach, you guys, the rest of our amazing coaching staff has to say sometimes like you guys are pretty badass. Like you already chose to be in here and you do have your mask and it is going to be a little bit harder, but like you signed up for hard. Like you're the type of person that was willing to make that move, for yourself, which is already amazing. And we're just going to sprinkle a little more on there. It's no different than when we go, assault bike. Like, you know what I mean? It's just another layer of that. And if you as affiliate owners or, training partners or whatever it is, remind people of that, like they can have that aha moment, the light bulb can go off. Like, yeah, I am resilient. You know what? I'm fucking here already.
The adversity thing is exactly, I actually thought you did a really nice job on Saturday of explaining to people, like, if you're not getting more than just an hour of fitness, that you're kind of, effectively wasting a little bit of your time and energy here. Like it's a lot of lessons that come out of the CrossFit gym. But that's kind of what I've been preaching over at the other gym, the Wyndham gym, is just like, I know this is not your favorite scenario to work out in. Like, I know you don't want to wear your mask while you work out, and neither do any of us, but we have to take care of one another. And really the messaging behind it is like, the hardest thing you have to do is walk through the door. Like if you can walk through the door and just keep doing that consistently, you're doing the absolute best thing you can for yourself. And yeah, you might not go at 100% intensity, but showing up versus not showing up is hugely beneficial to you, from not only just hey, I might not be able to go at 100%, but I can still go at like 75%. And I still get that group community feel and that connection with other people. I get out of my house. I move myself through ranges of motion. I probably get outside a little bit because sometimes we go for runs. It's done pretty nice here recently outside. So like there are a bunch of benefits to coming here that aren't solely just like beat your head into the wall and like go as hard as you can. But there's other elements to a CrossFit affiliate that are sometimes understated, and without having the ability to go to the gym because it's closed because we weren't wearing our mask, people got sick, that'd be a big hole in people's life. I mean, I know I personally felt that when we couldn't work out here or coach here or be around other people here, that I thought I was relatively introverted, but I realized a huge part of my identity and being and how I feel from day to day is being around other people and being able to help them. And I know that other people feed off that same energy off one another as well. So there's this huge missing element by not being able to get into the gym. So yeah, it's uncomfortable. I'm with you. It's hot, it's sweaty, you're not breathing fresh air, but at the same time, you're not stuck at home, not able to do anything. So like we have to look at that as a win and just say, hey, let's go in and do it.
Yeah. And again, like we have a lot of athletes who are not necessarily like performance driven, but they like to do well in the workout. And if they don't kind of go or like almost live up to what they think they should have done in the workout, whether it's a score or a time or whatever, and it's like you say like, oh, I could have gone a minute or two faster or whatever if I didn't have a mask on. And then we have to, that's like, I love hearing that because that's such an easy thing to dispel and say like, dude, you just came in and hazed yourself for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes with a mask on. The fact that you might have gone a minute faster without a mask is next to irrelevant. Like you just did something hard. Your body, like even if you had gone at 50% of your capacity, the things that you're doing in here, just the physical movement is still so much more beneficial than having not come in here at all just because you didn't want to wear a mask. And our coaches have done a tremendous job about reminding people of that. And frankly, one of the things that we kind of did was just say like, it's not a big deal. Like, we barely even address it in kind of the announcements at the beginning of class. Like, hey guys, sorry about the masks. It's a state mandate. Here's the workout. And if it's not like, if you don't make it a big deal, it's not a big deal. If you make it seem like it's the end of the world and that we have to really try hard to get through this, then it's going to seem like this massive mountain. But
follow your lead.
Yeah, exactly.
If you make it a bigger deal than it has to be, or if your culture is like, oh, this is stupid. I don't hate my governor, make us do this. It's like, that's not going to set you up for success. And at the end of the day, it's like, it is what it is. And we look at it, what we do is a little bit unorthodox. CrossFit gyms are unorthodox, not a normal gym experience. So like the fact that you're willing to come in and do this type of stuff already puts you in the mindset of like, hey, I do things that are a little bit different from everybody else. Well, if everybody else is a little bit upset about wearing a mask and going in public, like, BFD, you can come in here and do this and still have what feels like a semblance of a normal life, even with a mask on your face. But again, if you make it a bigger deal, that's when people create a problem. So, I think from the top down, it's just been like, it's on our face and let's go back to work.
Yeah.
One of the lessons that I think we've really gotten during COVID, whatever the name of what is happening is, shutdown, quarantine, mask mandate, whatever.
Part 13.
Yes. It seems to be ongoing, so I'm not really sure what the name for it is. But one of the things that can happen to you as a business owner, and maybe just in life in general, is this idea that doing the right thing will eventually lead you to a place where things just sort of fall into place for you, whether it is as a business or as a person. And you can go very long stretches of time where you are making the right choices, you are being ethical and moral and really trying to look out for your members and look out for your coaching staff. And you don't feel like you might be getting return on investment, right? You don't necessarily know when it's going to happen, but we've done this and especially in the last year or so have really recommitted ourselves to doing this. And then we were able to go into the Facebook group of the members and say, if you guys keep your memberships, we'll pay the coaches exactly what they make. And honestly, I get like emotional about it, thinking about putting that sort of goodwill in for the members and trying to make this place as good as we can. And then them showing up during, the most financially stressful time that we've had, in forever, in this country, especially probably in the lifetime of all of our members. And they're like, yep, sounds good.
This is still worth it for me to financially pay for, because hopefully it's because it's changed their life in such a way that they feel committed to that. But then it goes back again. It's because I know that we've all talked about it and definitely thought about it. Holy shit! It would have been so easy and justifiable for people to stop paying.
Correct. And
reasonable chance that we're not here right now if that had happened. So it's it becomes okay, what can we do, not to one up the members, but how can we
reinvigorate
to them
you
and
to do the right thing,
right,
to make
yeah.
those right choices.
To me, that's that symbiotic relationship between the membership and obviously the business, is that they see the benefit of supporting us, being able to make sure the doors stay open so that when things kind of settle back down, they can come here and work out because they really love this place. But I also think, a testament to kind of what Hunter did with taking a lead here with the gym is saying, hey, because we can't be in here, we have to have a plan of communicating with our membership, executing a plan after we communicate that plan to the membership, and then following through to make sure they feel like they're still getting value from our service, whether that's renting equipment out or meeting in a park somewhere to do burpees in a field, or nothing more than just, hey, we're going to have a consistent schedule and we're not going to miss a Zoom class. Yeah, I guarantee the coaches didn't really necessarily love Zoom class, and I'm sure the members, when compared it to their normal experience, are this is slightly subpar, but guess what? I get to see my friends on camera. I get to have these interactions that I might not have had otherwise, which is, I was actually talking to one of our coaches in Wyndham last night about this. The gym's a social club. As important as it is to come in and work out and get healthier, the gym is a social club. It allows people to decompress from their day in a way that's not just physical. It's supremely mental, that you get a chance to get disconnected from whatever project or thing you had going on at work that stressed you out. And you get to say, and put that on the back burner for an hour, and I can just enjoy my time for me with my friends and doing what I like to do. And for me, even if it's on Zoom, is better than being stuck and going, fuck, what am I going to do now? I've read this book 3 times. I've watched this series front to back twice. What am I going to do now? And having the ability to connect with people is really what I think made the difference through COVID. In addition, just having a plan, is creating and maintaining those connections and relationships the entire time.
But that is the secret, right?
Yeah, 100%.
We talk about, we've had full episodes on it, and the basis of the logo for the Misfit project, the foundation is personal relationships. It is your tribe. I think that is the number one health marker for people, your personal relationships. Do you have meaningful relationships in your life? And that's what you get here.
It took me a long time to realize this. We did a bunch of Misfit camps. I don't even know how many in total we did, like 30 or 40 or so. And, it'd be funny because I originally came in it with a lens of like looking at from as the high level, like fitness coach. Like I'm watching how people move and what the programming looks like. And yeah, I don't like that programming, or I don't like the way that athlete's moving, but people are high-fiving and having a great time, and the gym is fucking packed from wire to wire, and there are people spilling in trying to get in even when their class isn't going on. They're like hanging out in the corner and want to know what's going on at 5 p.m. even though they're taking 6. And I was like, well, holy shit, like there needs to be something that's brought to the attention of all of us. It's like, hey, we need to make sure we foster relationships in the gym and that we create this opportunity for people to interact with one another. And like some of that happens organically. You naturally gravitate to certain people in the gym, but like I think the things that you do of like asking icebreaker questions or having the coaches, partner up with somebody when things weren't crazy with COVID, like having these ability to like get people to connect and talk to one another and form more tight-knit relationships are really to like the secret of a good CrossFit affiliate. And it took a while for me to like stomach that pill because I was like, I could teach that way better, but that honestly is a part of what you offer, not the entire package. And that took me a long time to realize.
I love the like massive ego smash of training camp. Cause like the night that everybody gets into town, sometimes they'll come like a day early. Sometimes they'll get here on Friday and come see us in the afternoon. And right off the bat, it's like, oh shit, Drew and Cody are over there. Like I'm super excited to meet them. And you can tell they're a little nervous. It's a little awkward. And by the end of the weekend, they can give a flying fuck that either of us are there. They've made all these new friends. They got this new little bubble and they're all like texting each other and they go out to eat like after camp and all that. And they continue to like, some of them now like travel to like hang out with each other. Like they go on vacations together and everything. And that's the thing where you love, like you do maybe like lure them in with like, oh, well, you listen to us all the time and you watch videos, you should come hang out and see what it's like.
Learn how to do pull-ups better.
And then they come hang out with each other and they get that same kind of vibe. And yeah, it's awesome. It's powerful. It's hopefully something that we get to do again.
It gives me goosebumps, quite often when you think about that, both camps and just people coming to the gym and you see them at first be a little hesitant, don't find their crowd. And eventually they kind of work their way in with a bunch of people they enjoy working out with. And you just see them and you'd like watch their body transform. I mean, we have a member right now and I think he took beginners 4 months ago. He's lost 55 pounds and he attests to the fact that his life is better. His work is better. His relationship with his wife is better. And he legitimately just loves this place now. And it's just so cool to see someone change their life for the better. Cause not that he was on a road to being like, croaking soon because he's still a young guy, but like think about how much better his life is because he was able to put this into his, being. He has a place where he enjoys working out. He sees that he's getting better. I know his wife appreciates it because I talked to her about it afterwards, but it was just kind of a really cool thing. And it's like disguised because you come in, you hang out with your buddies, but you also get really, really good shape, which again has a bunch of health benefits. So to me, like seeing someone walk through the doors, a little scared, a little hesitant, kind of find their groove, and it's the relationships and the connections they make with people early on is what the hook is to eventually become a long-term habit. And you see someone like Derek himself who dramatically changed his body in like no more than like 3 months. That's crazy. 55 pounds in 3 months is
Derek,
bonkers.
you were talking about Derek?
Yeah.
He also spent the last 2 months with a broken ankle as he was working. He was
Bonkers.
working and just like or hiking or working or something, and he broke his ankle. So he was in a boot for the last 2 months and still he just like continued to come in because our coaches do a really good job. It's like I don't care if you're in a full body cast, like we'll figure out some way to keep you moving and keep you active and like whatever. It worked because he kept losing weight and now he's out of his boot and he's like his doctor was like, I can't believe like you didn't like nobody's supposed to lose weight when they're like in a cast and healing and stuff like that. And we could get into all the medicinal benefits of like being fit before and after like surgery or injuries and stuff like that. But bottom line is that he just continued to come in. He spent a fair amount of time bench pressing, strict pressing, incline bench pressing and skiing.
But he's swole now.
And now he's fucking yoked and now he's out of his boot and he's just going to hopefully continue that in that same direction. But
love it.
Yeah.
So I sort of felt like listening to the podcast, I sort of felt like it was a job interview. I sort of felt like, having 2 affiliates that I was witnessing Eric Roza be interviewed to get the position. Obviously he already has it.
Right.
And that can lead to a higher level of comfort than an actual job interview. But like, I really felt like, we made that post back in May, was it May or June?
I think it was June.
Made the post that was like, we will not be paying CrossFit HQ ever again at either affiliate if Glassman is the CEO. And like, I think it's hard for people to understand, like Sherb and I are like OG Larrys, like that hurts to say. That's really fucking hard. Like not just because of, you know, the good parts of Greg, but just like this changed our life. Like I would be the kind of person who, if I got out of this at some point, I might affiliate in my fucking garage. There's just something about supporting the thing that like he talked about, like trying to get 500,000 people and everyone should be excited about it. And I agree with that. And it doesn't matter. I could put out 30 angles to why you should want that to happen if you're involved. But like that was really hard. So we got sort of, you know, stuff sprinkled in about Eric and, you know, what he was about and what, you know, his past jobs were and everything like that. But I sort of felt like this was the first time where we got something that was a little bit more long form and I could listen to him speak and sort of, you know, get into, you know, how he thinks and all that. And you're still hired, Eric.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
If you're worried about the sliver
listening.
of if you're worried about the sliver of 2 affiliates up in Maine, which I actually think he is. I would believe that he was.
Based on his conversations in there and the things that he alluded to, like people writing him handwritten notes saying we're back in, like, and how much that meant to him. So it's definitely, you know, one thing about CrossFit I always thought was interesting. You talk about like Castro way back, like you sent him an email saying your fucking open workout was goddamn stupid. I'm not ever doing that. He'd be like, thanks for your input. And he'd like respond back to you. And it's always been like their thing is that like they're somewhat conscious of what's going on around him. So to hear that from him and hear that he values things like that meant a lot to me because, you know, sort of you alluded to, like outside of the terrible things that Greg did, like was a personal hero of mine because of what he had started and how much it meant to me and what I like do every single day with my life. Like he was the reason it exists. But at the same time, I didn't know anything about Eric. And, you know, we have 2 members here that had heard him speak at some event for his original business, Data Logic or Oracle. I don't remember which one it was.
They posted a photo, by the way, and I've been to his affiliate, and I did not know that until I saw the photo. It's in like a strip mall in Boulder.
Yeah, so it's just funny. Like I had 2 members that like, wait till you hear him speak, wait till you hear him speak. And then like we had heard a couple like snippets here and there. And obviously around the games, he was interviewed a couple times very briefly. But it was nice to finally have him sit down and kind of give him like, here's who I am. And I really appreciated the fact at the very end of that podcast ended with some question and answer. And it was, hey, get to know him a little bit more. Tell me a little bit more about like what makes you tick or what you think about. So for me, it was just nice to get to know the person because, you know, you have this essentially outsider. He does own an affiliate. He's like one of us, but like he comes from tech. He doesn't come from, hey, I started training in the corner of like Gold's Gym and I eventually create this giant business. So it was just kind of interesting to see what his thoughts were and where he was with things. And it was just, the end of the day, really nice to have, you know, what I felt like was assurance that this person actually genuinely cares about what's going to happen and wants to not only grow the, you know, affiliate side of things, but cares about the sport. It basically looks at the business and says, you know, we shouldn't put all of our eggs in one single basket. We can grow this entire basket, like all these baskets simultaneously versus picking and choosing one versus the other.
Yeah, I think it's good because, and I appreciated how, he kind of referenced the way that Greg ran CrossFit or didn't run CrossFit, whatever your thoughts are. He openly admitted, like, this isn't being run as a business. Like and Glassman has openly said, like, it never started to become a business. He was a trainer.
He had to have someone tell him that he needed to spend his money to make it look like he had money so that the business would be valued higher.
Right. And I think I appreciate that kind of grassroots approach to it. Like even us here, like we're still getting better and better about the business side of things because ultimately the 3 of us, like we coach CrossFit. We teach people how to move. We learn a lot. We read a lot about that sort of information. The business is a little bit, or at least was a little bit more secondary until now it's obviously super important that you're business savvy as well as proficient in coaching and the whole CrossFit methodology and whatnot to be successful. But I think that as it's grown, like the only way that it's going to continue to grow and be successful and become this massive movement and this massive positive impact that we all know that it can be on a much larger level is that it has to switch a little bit toward kind of the business side, or we have to be at least conscious of the business implications of it. And it seems like Roza, obviously, it doesn't seem like he obviously has a lot of experience in making successful companies as a CEO. So I think it will only benefit affiliates. I hope we don't go away completely from that grassroots like approach and like the mentality of the coaches and the people owning the gym. Like, they're also the ones who are on the floor coaching and taking classes and are kind of in the trenches, and we don't have affiliate managers who like don't know shit about CrossFit and don't participate and are just like the silent owner of the gym, that sort of thing. I don't particularly like that concept, but I think there's a way to kind of blend the best of both worlds, and I'm hoping that that's going to kind of be the direction.
That kind of leads me into one of the things that I was thinking about. I'm obsessed with finding people and connecting with people who have what I call range, and that's what in society would be considered conflicting identities. They carry both around with them as if it doesn't matter. It really bothers me when brilliant people put themselves in a box, and I am this person, and I follow the like, okay, so I'm in tech, so I wear these exact clothes, and these are my exact hobbies, and I don't do this, and I don't do that.
Where's your Patagonia vest?
Yeah. We're not going to talk about vests. I don't want to upset anyone. So I love when someone can have all of these ideas just because they're really cool. And like, I got to this place and I got interested in it because I'm a very curious person, but I would keep going. This is my identity now. And then 5 years later, this is my identity now. And I would hop around these different things because I would just be genuinely curious and go down the rabbit hole. But I thought once I jumped down the rabbit hole, I lived there. You know what I mean? So seeing these examples of people who can be interested in all of these different things simultaneously, first and foremost, fascinates me, but also that's part of the job interview, because he said in it, I wouldn't have opened a gym if it wasn't this way. I wouldn't have opened a gym if I didn't get to put my own stamp on it.
Yep.
And that sort of leads us there. And then this guy has, I don't know, hundreds of millions of dollars. He bought CrossFit, let's just put it that way. And he talks about how he's, walking around barefoot in the stream next to his office. That's my kind of guy. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and that's, to me, where you can start to say, okay, what things were we thinking about wrong as a community? Like, Glassman's not getting on the phone with the Orange Theory CEO. Like, it was always us versus them.
Unlikely.
And it works all the way back at the beginning with that guerrilla marketing of like, let's get in the newspaper and have it say, this is the fittest person on earth. I fucking dare you to come see us.
Right.
But once you get onto CBS and ESPN,
you get
and
enough traction,
us versus them is counterproductive.
Well, there's just this thing of like early adopters versus people who are going to eventually figure out what you're about. And like the tip of the spear, what Greg was kind of controversial early on, was great because it kind of created buzz around what we did. It was different. It was not any gym experience you've ever had before. But then what he alluded to later on is that because they had that attitude, they literally scared people away from doing it, because they're like, oh, you're not one of us. You can't do this. You're not the tip of the spear. You're grandma. And he's like, why the fuck did the CrossFit Games scare everybody away from doing CrossFit? It's like, well, that was the way you approached things early on. It was contrarian. It was different. It wasn't what everybody was doing. Even though it is for everyone, you scare people away with that identity and that thing. So it's important to recognize that, like, he always joked about I think it was the car lot and like the CrossFit Games where the clown entertaining the kids, like meant to like entertain them while the parents did the car shopping. Like, that to me is sort of early on, like, hey, look at us, look at us, look at us. And then it was like, oh, you guys are only paying attention to the clown now. You're not paying attention to the cars. That to me is just, it speaks to, hey, maybe if we refocused on making CrossFit accessible to more people and maybe not, pissing everybody off because they have a slightly different opinion from you, you might get more buy-in. You might be able to grow your business more and be able to help more people. Because I know deep down that really was the goal with CrossFit, was to help as many different people realize the potential their own bodies had and to be able to experience their own life. But when you come up with an attitude of like, you're not worthy, you're not tip of the spear, you push people out the door and you don't get people to buy in.
Yeah, it was just constant overcorrecting. We talk all the time about that in life and training and coaching and all these different things. You get a new idea and it's the only thing you talk about in class. That doesn't make you a good coach, right?
Right.
So like consistently overcorrecting instead of just oh, we might have been leaning too far this way. Let's like nudge it back in this direction, as opposed to like jam it all the way back, like to the exact opposite side of the spectrum.
I think it's a reflection just of culture and society as a whole. It's very much black or white, you're left or right, one side or the other, that sort of thing. And then when it comes down to making the business decision for CrossFit, it's like we're going to either be with the Globo gyms of the world, or we're going to be so far in the other direction that it's like we said, you're not worthy, sort of thing. But one thing that I really appreciated that Roza said was and I think this applies to far more things like well outside the scope of fitness, just life in general, that we have as CrossFit affiliates, we have a lot more in common with the Zumbas and the Orange Theories and the Planet Fitnesses of the world than we probably care to admit. Like ultimately, like those places are all intended to do the same thing, whether it's more of a business like meant to be more financially driven, or more for CrossFit, it's more community driven. Ultimately, like the end goal is generally the same, and that's to create a healthier community. How those businesses decide to do that is obviously up to them. We go with the kind of community first mentality, and the other things will follow. But ultimately, it was cool to hear like, hey, Orange Theory, I think it was Orange Theory Zumba, like CEO wants to chat, and he's just like, oh fuck yeah, like I'll talk with that guy. I don't even like care if he's the
who wouldn't want to talk to the CEO.
Who wouldn't want to talk to the
Fortune
CEO? Like
500
they've done a terrific job, and it's like, yeah, if you've got Orange Theories popping up all around the country, and people are going to them, like
doing something right.
Yeah, maybe if the screen up there says like you're in the calorie burning zone, like yeah, whatever. We get the idea. We do the same thing here. We trick people. It's like, yeah, go really hard, or let's do a partner workout. It'll make it seem more fun. Like, yeah, I got you. But
true.
It's just we can, instead of kind of having that, like you said, contrarian or us versus them approach, it's like let's maximize the most out of what we can take. And ultimately the people aren't gonna like, this isn't gonna be like this massive shift of people going from Orange Theories to CrossFit gyms, or CrossFit gyms going to Orange Theories. Like I feel like people tend to get nervous, like if if Roza is going to go interact with Orange Theory, all of a sudden a bunch of CrossFitters are going to be like, oh, sweet, Orange Theory. Like, it's not going to happen. It's just trying to find the best of both worlds, and recognizing that we probably have a lot more in common, and that we could forward the larger health-related goals of CrossFit with the help of other people, rather than just trying to do it on our own.
I really like the imagery. I think he said crusty old white guys in ties versus the executives of like Orange Theory and all those places. I just thought that was really funny, because I'm like, he gets it, right? He's trying to unify people who care about health, and realizing that, like, I think you say it a bunch of times, that like rising tides like raise all ships. Like if we all work together to try to get people to understand that like you take care of yourself, you're going to be healthier, and that here are different ways to do it, that we're not shooting ourselves in the foot. We're actually making it more accessible to more people.
Yeah, I mean, it's still outside looking in. Like, it's so impossible for, the people in this room to scrub their mind of all their personal experiences, but it's still called CrossFit, which I remember personally being like, cool. and then you see someone flopping around
sounds way cooler. That's why I did that.
You see someone flopping around on a pull-up bar. You see things that you don't understand. And if we keep the mentality of like, you can't sit here, you can't sit with us, like that kind of thing, like none of this stuff is going to grow. Like when he was throwing those numbers out, like 500,000 people is such a weak ass goal.
That's so small.
You know what I mean? Like, and I understand that like when you have an affiliate and you're looking at numbers like that and you're like, oh, well, they get $20 times, you know what I mean? Like, and you're like, that's a lot of money. And it's like, is it though? Is it to run a global fitness, what we consider to be the best way to train and the healthiest, human beings in the world? No, it's not. So for me, it's very much like, I'm on board. Like, what do we got to do to like grow this thing and stop being like, don't be scared. I mean, he alluded to it on the podcast as well. Like our gym is called Misfit Gym Portland. It's not called, like, it's technically called CrossFit MF, and you can still search for CrossFit MF, but there's a reason for that. Like, we want people in the door. We want to grow this thing. We do tell them that it is CrossFit. We do pay our affiliate fees, all that stuff. But like, there's something to softening that blow, for advertising and marketing purposes. Like,
it's really encouraging to hear him say too, that like, as important as it is to everybody. I think the pressing issue for a lot of people early on when Greg was making all those changes is like, everything's different. All the fun things that we really love, you're taking all of them away and you're making it way worse than it used to be. Like, what the hell? And as important as the CrossFit Games are and how much commitment he has to that singular like event and how it grows the sport and the company, it was really nice to hear him say, like, we recognize that a lot of CrossFit gyms pay us this money and then go, what the fuck do we get other than be able to use your name and say that we do CrossFit training here? To me, that was super exciting to say, hey, we are looking at that process and figuring out how can we make this better? Like, to me, he's like, a bunch of people figured out how to do certain things in their business. They figured out how to staff people, how to pay people certain wages, what kind of systems to run at their business. He's like, but why does that always fall upon the entrepreneur's shoulders all by themselves? How can we help the entrepreneur be a better business? Because if they're better businesses, we grow, they grow, more people know about CrossFit, the brand grows. So to me, listening to him talk about things that were important to him and talking about how he can specifically drive better retention and better affiliates, to me is the most exciting thing. Because as much as I love the competitive side of CrossFit, like, I really, really love the affiliate stuff, because that to me is like, how can we help people, everyday people? Like, CrossFit Games are great, awesome thing to watch, but how can we help the everyday person who needs this more so than, the CrossFit Games athlete?
And how many people are going to want to open a CrossFit gym if, Bob, CrossFit owner, pulls up in his electric Hummer, versus his moped? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like, again, it's one of those things where each of these things sounds right from like he's taking care of us standpoint, but he's also going to grow it into something that's more appealing to people. And it doesn't matter whether that's for health reasons, financial reasons, all of that all works, that all helps all of us.
Synergy together. Yeah.
And one of the things that I have to get out of the way that's stuck in my head here, having range, I think, is allowing yourself to be immature every once in a while. And you guys keep talking about Zumba. Zumba means something different in the state of Maine, and I won't talk about why it means something different in the state of Maine.
You should.
Fuck,
now
I
you
forgot.
should.
He forgot. Yeah, he kept talking about that, and I'm just like, how closely connected are these ideas? I actually won't say Google it because I don't want to get in trouble, but yeah. Zumba where we're from
Don't
is
Google
probably don't Google it. It's probably a little bit
Check it out.
different than the conversation that he
Everybody's
had
Googling it for sure.
with the CEO.
Yeah,
Don't Google
yeah,
it.
Don't.
That's the disclaimer, though.
Yeah.
Like,
We
we
told
told
you
you not to Google it.
Do not
don't-
Google Zumba Maine.
I'm very surprised that I'm saying this. He said a lot about sports specifics. I don't think we have to spend that much time covering it because of all the other stuff that was in there. But we sort of had this, like, the Open's definitely on this date, and he sprinkled in unless it's not. And like, I wanted to, like, I really, for YouTube, want to smash my forehead on this table here a few times. It's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world for the sport or the community or any of that stuff. It's just the end of the world for us because we'll write you guys like 7 programs that will then throw in the garbage or save for a later date.
Some other day. Day.
It sounds to me like, from the rumors that we've heard, we know some people that were out in Aromas, whether it's demo team or ninth party game of telephone kind of a thing, but that the Open will pre-qualify people for sanctionals, which are actually a hybrid of regionals and sanctionals. They're allowed to have third-party people run these competitions. They want, sort of community members and everything. It's going to be sort of a symbiotic relationship. What we do not know is whether where you live matters anymore. What I do like is that it doesn't matter in the giant pool. Like, if that's how it actually is, if it's truly this many people worldwide are the ones that get to go to sanctionals, then it's okay. Because we remember back
That was
to
our biggest gripe back in the day.
yeah,
was
back
how-
in the day, you've got 15 games athletes in this region and 1 in the other, but you're still going to have sort of that podium. That was a problem. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. And it also didn't make any sense for the fact that America, while we think we're the center of attention and we think that we're, I don't know, probably 90% of land mass in the world or whatever, that's not the fucking case. And like,
our own
all of the regionals were in America. Like,
Yes.
they're like, oh, this giant landmass, okay, you send 1, we'll send 80, and everything will be fine. So I like that pool is going to be figured out that way. That's what it seems like to me. You guys correct me if I'm wrong.
No, what I read was similar to that, but potentially athletes will have to stay somewhat geographically defined in terms of the ones they sign up for, it to sound like you would have a roster of competitions you can go to. It's not like you're in the East region, you can only go to the East regional, but it did sound like they didn't want athletes necessarily to be able to pick and choose as much. Again, going back to the
I don't think they can let them pick and choose at all, because how would you... Like, athletes would wait to see what the other people signed up for.
Maybe they'll give it like an option. Like, here are the 3 to 5 closest regional. Like, congratulations, you've qualified to move on to the next stage of competition. Please select the please order the numbers 1 through 5 regional that you would like to attend, and then they parse that out, and they're just they kind of select Pat Vellner and Matt Frazier, you're not going to go to the same regional or something like that.
It'd be cool if it was random.
People out like that, or randomize it. Yeah, whatever's the most fair. But I feel like that's.
Yeah, it would be a real bummer to go back to the geographical thing, because just from the standpoint of how many athletes we saw in very talented regionals were just like, hey, you're constantly 6th. Bummer.
I imagine they need to do something like that because of the diversity things that they kind of alluded to, and it's like rightfully so. That's super important for the sport to grow. That we make sure that we have a representation of everybody, like the entire human race effectively. But I did appreciate that it was he recognized, he being Roza, recognized that ultimately the CrossFit games themselves are the purpose is to find the fittest person on earth. We want to make sure that the affiliates are at the lower levels have the most diversity as possible and whatnot. And a representation of all kind of race, religion, creed, whatever at the CrossFit Games is important, but we need to make sure that we're not watering that down by artificially placing people who are not necessarily qualified to compete against the Matt Fraziers, the Pat Vellners, the BKG, the Tias, those folks, just out of, to be politically correct, I guess.
Don't get me wrong.
There's a way to do both, and I appreciate that he recognized that, but also the sports side of things, when it comes to finding the fittest on earth, that's the purpose of it.
Yeah, it's great that other countries were represented at the CrossFit Games in 2019. I really did enjoy the fact that there were more people there, but in terms of the spirit of competition, it didn't do a lot to shake things up. You weren't seeing oh shit, here are 8 people we've never heard of before, all of a sudden taking podium spots.
No.
That's not a thing. But at the same time, it did help create awareness in these countries, and there's got to be a way that you take people and give them the opportunity to compete, maybe not at the CrossFit Games level, but at high level competitions that do get attention from people. The Rogue CrossFit Championships, you get the Icelandic ones. These big events that they did a really nice job with and put together. They are aware to get people out and into space where they can kind of see and be all right, these are the high-level athletes in our region. Europe's a great spot. There are a bunch of very, very talented CrossFitters out of Europe, but outside of one random strength and depth competition, there's nothing out there for them to do that a lot of people pay attention to. So it's it was nice to hear that there's some sort of plan to maybe make a pro-am almost. You can go out there and you can go do these things, and there'll be RX competitors and CrossFit Games athletes, and it's a way to just make people realize that as much as there is this high-level sport, there's this thing that we all can do together. And if you compete every once in a while and it brings a little bit better out of you, and it encourages you to want to go back to the gym and train harder and have these right reasons for going in, let's build that together, because these aren't necessarily two separate spheres that are one from another. They kind of overlap at some point, and it's important to recognize that does matter to both him and to all of us. There's intersections there.
I think people it was kind of frustrating to hear a little bit. A lot of people were upset about the diversity. People suggested that there was not a lot of diversity in the sport of CrossFit, and the only reason I say that was frustrating is because you look at the 2019 games, we literally had representation from how many countries was it? Over 200 countries or something at the CrossFit Games, and how I don't understand how you're gonna say there was not diversity and inclusion. The cuts filtered that things down, and the result was a lot of the same countries and stuff like that we expected to be on the podium. But I think there's a way to blend the both of ideas to make sure that there is representation without without kind of artificially skewing the podium, so to speak.
Yeah, I think the issues with diversity are centered more around the idea that every advertisement is a cement block jawed white male with giant pecs and that whole thing. So when you put that out there, like, how is that going to draw someone in that either doesn't understand that world or is not part of that world? And then, he talked about $20 as an entry fee in every single country is a huge deal. Affiliate fees in, third world countries or whatever, things like that need to change.
Yeah.
And then obviously you take someone like Glassman who couldn't change anything without chaos ensuing. Like, everything had to be like, okay,
dynamite on everything.
Exactly. Like, we need diversity and inclusion in the sport. So he allows a national champion from every single country. And it's like, some of them is literally like, I don't know, like you let
barely
your
doing them all
9-year-old face Randy Johnson or something like that. Like it just, it to me isn't necessarily the answer. And then he came out and said some insanely fucked up shit that set us back in a
200 years.
Exactly. Like, it's like, okay, we want this to happen, but I'm still going to say this.
Right.
Like, so those contradictions are something else. I was really excited when he said that affiliate cup and super teams are both highly valuable to the sport, to the brand, to everything.
Be fun.
Because our athletes right now that are more team centric are scrambling and like, how am I going to get ready for the Open? And it's like, well, the same way that you would anyways. But like, it's a different feeling. You know what I mean? It's a different weight on your shoulders. It's a different level of anxiety. And when athletes are in that team setting, I think they get to let go of that and just be themselves and do their thing. So it's exciting to hear that because, as athletes get a little bit older, like, moving to this place and living in someone's basement is not only like, I don't know.
It's not realistic.
It's not realistic, but it also kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think, when you're in your late 20s, early 30s, for some of the athletes, even their mid 30s, and you're going to be on a team, like, you might be married, like your significant other might have a job, and it's like, let's move to X.
How do you justify that too? When unless you are the number 1 or number 2 team, you don't make any money to the point where you could like live and do this. It's not like, oh, great guys, you won $1 million. Like, here's your $250,000 for being part of our team. Enjoy your off season. Get ready for next year when you move back to my basement.
12 grand after taxes.
That's it's tough living wage. So I mean, in addition to like being able to hear that there's an opportunity for affiliate teams, super teams, like they're also considering like, how do we create relationships with other businesses so that these people have, if they're going to be a professional athlete, they can live a professional athlete's life. And he didn't really necessarily put out the exact blueprint how that's going to happen, but to me, that's very encouraging because what you said, how difficult would it be to be in your 31, 32, have a kid at home and go, I got to go train for a month and I'll be back. You deal with the kid, I'll be back. Like, that's not realistic. That's not going to help grow anything, and it's going to make it so it turns into like a young man or young woman's sport where, athletes who could still compete at a high level just can't put themselves in a scenario where they can actually train realistically for one of these teams.
Right. The other big questions were definitely surrounding the age group, that whole situation. And they definitely went from like, hey, Castro, deal with these people. And like you could tell like way back that some of the workouts, for, affiliate cup and this, like it was all put onto the same person. And the individual workouts were just better. Like the way that they were shown, the way that they were thought out, like that was the focus. So this other stuff suffered. Well, now the CEO is a masters athlete and someone who cares about creating one of those leaderboards where he's the fittest, in
this square
Roza of this height and in this, quadrant and everything. And he talked about like, if you're trying to grow a sport and, we're trying to grow financially and we're trying to cast a wider net, if I'm if I'm top 5% in the world, why are you telling me I'm done after 5 weeks, right? That's exciting for him to say because like from a personal standpoint, we have a ton of fun coaching our masters and our teens, but also surprise, surprise, masters a lot of times have jobs and money. And like there's this like subsection of CrossFitters from age like 19 to like whenever they decide they have to become an adult. And like, there's not a whole lot of money there. Like, even if they are, the top of the top and they've got decent sponsors, we're not talking about people bringing home an insane amount of money unless you're talking about the best of the best. So like, teens have parents who have jobs and masters have jobs. And like you're talking about this massive pool who could and should be a bigger part of the sport anyways, but now also could be putting more money into the sport and helping everything grow.
Yeah, I think it's exciting to think about multiple stages for both individuals and masters and teens, but it would be silly to avoid or not pay a lot of attention to the teenage crew. And he alluded to the Haley Adams and what was his name? Justin Medeiros, who started CrossFit when they were like 6, whatever. But like that's the future of the individual competition. Those are at some point, I don't know, maybe not. Maybe it'll still be like because we know biologically strength kind of peaks in like the mid to late 20s, that sort of thing. So I don't know if we're going to see this massive influx of the 18-year-old athletes like we do in the NBA or the NHL and stuff like that. But the fact that we're not maybe putting as much attention into those age groups, and then the masters side of things, that is kind of to me, that's the avenue of the CrossFit health sort of connection between being a competitive athlete and being somebody who's a little bit older. Like you look at somebody like that, like that masters athlete is going to be functional long into their 90s, short of something changing or something terrible happening. Like we can't ignore these groups of people, and just having a second stage, a second online qualifier with 200 people, and we only send 10 athletes to the games. Like I understand there's a financial aspect to that, but I think the intermediate solution is like, yeah, you should be kind of rewarded for being in the top 5% or whatever, like allowed to at least move on and compete. And if for nothing else, just kind of the excitement of like, oh yeah, I made it to the next stage. Because how many people's goal was it? Like, I'll put my hand up, was I know I'm not going to the games, but man, it would be sure fucking cool to go to regionals. And like I did that, and that was super exciting. But for athletes now who are training, like there's so many athletes who are obviously significantly better than I was, and they're just like, open 5 weeks and you're done, because it's only now
like stuck in purgatory.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like, I know I'm probably never going to be cracking that top 20 in the open to go to the games, but man, I work really hard and I'm pretty fucking fit. Like I could maybe get paid or have a sponsor or something like that, but just because I'm not on the big stage that once a year,
I mean, outside of the open athlete, the 18 to 35-year-old, leaning in and leveraging these communities of like teenagers, like, hey, look how we're setting up young adults to be really healthy people, fits right in with the CrossFit message. Then like you just said a second ago, the masters athletes, you have someone like Dave Hippensteel, who's like, I don't know, 300 years old and he's doing muscle ups. Like that dude, think about if you just didn't think about CrossFit for a quick minute and you just Google searched 60-year-old man, what are you going to see? A fucking dude bent over, the cane in his hand, white hair, maybe no hair, and like fucking pants up to his tits. Like that's what you're gonna see. You're not gonna see Dave Hippensteel. But what's really cool about those
another
athletes,
graphic, Ted. Next workout graphic. Sherb with pants up to his tits.
What's really cool about that though, he's
definitely the mustache too.
What it means to be an older gentleman, what it means to be an older athlete, and like look at this functional human being. Like that
I got
is
the photo.
So cool that we can, like CrossFit can boast and say that. But like those two communities are, I think, well underserved in terms of like the opportunities that CrossFit Games provides these people to compete. And then at the same time, like I loved watching the Invitational, and I'm huge into like watching all of the CrossFit things, but like the Invitational Team Series, like they gave athletes in the past many opportunities to go out and test their fitness and, allow these athletes to maybe earn a little bit more money. Like I'm all for that. Like sanctionals are great, but it's also nice if some of these things can be done literally at home without any sort of restriction on travel, cost being prohibitive. Like there's opportunities to do these things and watch the sport of fitness, just giving people more opportunity to see it. And, we at first were like, oh man, how are we going to keep track with 30 sanctionals and watching them? And like, maybe they'll suck.
Don't exaggerate. It was only 28.
30 sanctionals. I feel like I carried 30 boxes of brand new swag that's getting dropped on Black Friday. First of all, these came in. These aren't Black Friday stuff, but this is sweet. This is the Halloween.
Thanks for that update.
SSE gear that you see. But man, and that was probably what, like 10% of the shit that's getting delivered here. I can't wait.
1%.
I can't wait.
We're gonna find out if the floor joists upstairs are actually rated for however many thousands.
next,
We might not have a studio
next
soon.
week when we're podcasting, a box is just gonna fall through and crush Sherb's head. Like
it's gonna land on Sherb though.
100%. Some Dorothy Wizard of Oz shit. Anyway, that swag's dropping real soon, but there's still plenty of stuff on sharpentheaxeco.com right now.
And we restocked the SSE hats as well, which people are
Fly off the shelves.
wild and crazy about.
Wild and crazy. That's you, not me. Use the code unprepared to save some dough on your order. Sharpentheaxeco.com.
You're pretty wild.
Boom.
Very. That's me.
I liked the after season comment. I thought that was kind of cool, like maybe Dubai can still exist and these other competitions where athletes can go. Like some athletes taking a chance on going individual could also determine whether they make any money the entire year 100%. As well, right? So it's not just that, like, as a coach, I want an athlete to be free and clear of bullshit like that. I don't want to deal with the fact that I might go here because I might make this much money and I might do that. And I know that that's never going to completely go away, but the more you pile on an athlete, the less they can put into the gym. You talk about the gas tank all the time. Like, we're emptying the gas tank on purpose, things that we choose. We're not emptying the gas tank because we're so stressed that we can't make any money anymore, all that. So the idea that an athlete can jump on a team or can go to one of these competitions and, put a little money in their pocket, between whatever it is, August and February, that's both exciting for us on a business, situation, when it comes to Misfit and Sharpen the Axe, but also the idea that athletes can go out there and make money and not have it be directly linked to their choice about whether they want to go individual or team.
They said, and he kind of alluded to, they asked a good question about like the title sponsorship. And it was actually interesting the way the question was phrased, like, does CrossFit even need a title sponsor? Like the Reebok CrossFit Games, the Under Armour, the Nike CrossFit Games, whatever it's going to be.
Baskin Robbins CrossFit Games.
I feel like all he said by saying nothing and saying he wanted to help the community grow and the community businesses is that Noble will be a part of the 2021 CrossFit.
Possibly.
That's
but anyway, he was like, it's not certain, but probable that there will be a title sponsor. And then also, like smaller strategic sponsorships like footwear. So I'm assuming like, if you want to wear Nike Metcons, you're allowed to do that at the CrossFit Games, that sort of concept. But to me, that also expanded the concept of the more athletic companies and whatnot, whether it's apparel, equipment, whatever, that start to get involved, the more money that goes into that CrossFit ecosystem and the more money that hopefully gets funneled to both affiliates and athletes as a result. If there's more kind of money in the sport to spread around, and we can, expand. He said they're looking for like a director of marketing or a COO of marketing or whatever the fuck it's
Chief
called.
Marketing
Chief
Officer.
Marketing Officer, whatever. I don't give a shit. Marketing guy.
I think, the way he described it was pie expansion versus pie division. Like he wants to put more money into the space and like essentially grow everybody, not just CrossFit HQ, but grow everybody who's around the space, because we're going to work together to make this a more viable option, to make it easier for 500,000 people to sign up, to make it easier to start your own business, to make it easier to buy the equipment you need for your gym. Like everything that he described was on the effort of how do we grow this thing? And I completely agree with you. Like, why not provide more opportunity for people to participate? Like, it was very strange that, you hear the shoe cobbler comment later on, like they created this relationship with somebody because they didn't let them do their own thing. That was kind of like CrossFit's thing early on, is that they had gone to Nike and Nike's like, you're going to do X, Y, and Z. And they're like, nope, I'm not doing that. That's not what we're doing. And so they found a partner that allowed them to kind of dictate the terms. But, as great as it was and it allowed for a title sponsor for the CrossFit Games, like maybe there's a better way to go about things. And there might be more opportunity if you don't shut yourself off to everybody else and you say, all right, how can we look at this and kind of work together to help one another versus I tell you what you're going to give me and that's it.
Yeah. When it comes to the sport itself and the things that he talked about, one of the reasons why I feel like we don't have to go into the specifics until we really have them, which again, before listening to that podcast, I don't think I would have come to that conclusion. But when all the shit went down this summer, I was receiving text messages from people that knew nothing about CrossFit, would never ask me about CrossFit, that just, screenshot like CrossFit is dead, New York Times or whatever. Like, are you okay? And,
No,
are
I was
you
not.
dead?
I was not okay.
And it already feels like everything's going to be fine. Like, I do want to know when this is and when that is and how does this person get from here to there. But that's more of like the emotional investments that I have in the athletes and everything. I feel like everything's like not only going to be fine, but it's going to be considerably better when it comes to the sport itself. And that's why I don't feel the need after listening to that interview for him to literally bullet point go down. This is the qualification system. This is exactly how this is going to work. You go from here to here and you do this to this. Like, would I have wanted to hear that? Of course. But like, it's almost like, everything's going to be all right. Like, that to me is more important than knowing this.
So again, one of our members' name's James here. He told me that he had, again, heard this guy speak before, and he's like, you should hear his story. It's amazing. It's amazing. And I was like, hopefully at some point someone interviews him. So that finally happened with this, Talking Elite Fitness podcast. And it's just like, you listen to the adversity he had gone through. He had started a tech company. He got divorced. His mother, and shortly there, passed away after that. And like, he's dealing with all these moments of adversity, growing up in a bilingual house and traveling back and forth between France and the United States. You like, listen to the background of this guy and what he went through and what's important to him. And then even joking that, like, I don't know how long ago it was, maybe 5 years. He's like, oh, it'd be really cool if someday I could buy CrossFit. To fucking have that come, like, literally speak that into existence is mind-boggling. And to hear someone who was so excited about it before it was even on the table, because
must be nice for me to be a billionaire.
Well, it's just funny because
but he doesn't have to work anymore.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to work anymore, and he's like, all right, I'll fix CrossFit.
But to hear him say, like, oh man, it'd be cool if Greg would sell me CrossFit, and everyone's like, listen, fucko, he's not selling that fucking business. He's burning that thing to the ground if it goes out. To not only have it not go that way, but to get his way down the road and to speak his way into existence of, hey, now I own this thing and I get this like amazing opportunity. He's not like, how can I make some money from these people? He's like, how can I grow something that makes my life better? Like, I recognize that when I went to the CrossFit gym and I worked out and I was around people who were healthy, that I was a better person, and I enjoy that, and I see that benefit, and now I want to perpetuate that out into the universe. Like, that to me is so refreshing, because for the longest time, one of the fucking digs you'd hear from people who don't know anything about CrossFit, what the fuck you do CrossFit for? Look at that guy. He fucking created, he can't even walk. Like, what's wrong with him? And it's like, well, hold on. Like, there's a story there, but like, it's also kind of like, it is a little bit strange from the outside perspective. You don't know anything about CrossFit, that the guy that creates it doesn't fucking do it. It's like, well, why is it so great if the guy that invented it doesn't do it without knowing the story? So it's just cool to have someone who like fucking drinks the Kool-Aid along with us to be the person who is leading now point on this company.
I got a question for both of you guys. He, as affiliate owners of multiple gyms, what were you guys' thoughts on what he said about, he kind of talked about the community that he became a part of as a CEO. I can't remember what it was, but basically almost like a network or like a Facebook group, quote unquote, of company CEOs just to ask for advice. And he was like, well, the CrossFit affiliate owner, while not a multi-million-dollar CEO, is effectively that person. And it gets lonely at the top, and having, just being a coach here, I'm not at the top by any means, but like, I understand that. And I imagine it's amplified even further if you're an affiliate owner, and particularly if you're one who's really still like, you're the guy who's like mopping the floors at 9 p.m. because there's still plenty of those out there. What are your guys' thoughts on kind of that group mentality of like, let's bring the CrossFit quote CEOs together, who are the gym owners and the affiliate managers and stuff, together to kind of share advice and whatnot? And I know there's like the affiliate owners group on Facebook, and you guys have your opinions on that, but like, was that exciting to hear, or is that just like,
yeah, I spend 45 minutes on average every single morning reading about what he's saying could be a face-to-face conversation, or at least I'm talking to you about this thing. I read about CEOs, I read about business, I read about, I get all the newsletters, the Hustle and Morning Brew and all these different things. And it's like if I was able to have conversations with the same kind of people who want to have those conversations, because I have always felt like I had to go outside of the CrossFit community to learn how to run gyms and Misfit Athletics and sharpen the axe. And I've learned an incredible amount just from that. So the idea that I could have, just that 1 degree of separation instead of God knows how many it takes, to write an article. It'd be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have too much more to add on that because on the similar vein, like we had, these 2 CrossFit gyms where Drew and I felt pretty confident we could write some good programming, we could coach pretty well, but the business side for the longest time is like just enough to stay operational as gyms. Like we were, not sinking by any means, but we weren't flourishing. And to be able to say, all right, we got to put our, effort and intensity into how can we grow this business because we realize the opportunity to continue to do what we do hinges upon our success at being able to run businesses effectively. Like Misfit's great and all, but if we don't run it like a business, it'll be a hobby for a while. And then I'll get a job at fucking Home Depot, pushing concrete around or something stupid.
You would never know what aisle this stuff. I'd be like, what aisle is this in? And you're like, I don't know.
So you're like every other Home Depot employee. It's like, I don't fucking know, bud. I went there for cabinet hangers. They're like, these should fucking work. You go home, they don't fucking work. So don't even get me started on Home Depot.
Came home with gardenias and just like, they said it with the cabinets.
I go there for the snacks anyways, but it was just nice to kind of
snacks at Home Depot.
Yeah,
Yes.
check out aisle, bro. Come
Yes.
on, yeah, like beef jerky
kidding?
and cookies. Like think about every contractor.
Like you've
Fucking
never grabbed some Lay's and some Jack Links in the fucking aisle.
That's called
Come
a
on.
contractor's
Grab
lunch.
a seltzer?
Bruh.
Yeah, dude, all day.
It's a ho-ho.
If you ever see my truck in the Home Depot parking lot, I'm eating Lay's and beef jerky.
Definitely
in my,
those little
in
beef
my
jerky,
truck.
those Duke's beef jerkies. But anyways, it was just nice to go out into the world and kind of see this, but then to be like, all right, the guy that's running the ship is how can we synthesize this information and make it so that you can not only get the information you need, but you can also get these connections because, over the years of traveling and doing competitions and camps, we've met a lot of really interesting people who have put us on paths to learn more about like running businesses and making relationships with other people. So to have someone say, hey, I want you to help synthesize this information and make it more accessible to you, that is awesome. And the fact is, like, we're now going to dedicate, media and resources to go back to do the things that we know you affiliates like. We know you like the stories of like, I think her name's Candace, the one at CrossFit South Brooklyn, the really older lady who goes there and does personal training sessions. Like that type of media and getting people to break down the stipulation of what is and isn't going on at a CrossFit gym is hugely impactful for us because people, a lot of them look at CrossFit and go, I can't fucking do that. But that wouldn't stop them from signing up to walk Beach to Beacon or some local 5K. But breaking down those barriers and that educational piece was missing from a central leadership point. So it's, to me, really exciting to see that there's a recommitment to some of the things that I thought were really nice, but CrossFit was kind of trialing and then going, maybe not, we'll do something else. Because it did feel like that for a while, that they kind of bounced around from what's important to what's not important as they, ebbed and flowed as a company.
I was much more culpable though in the, businesses running or not running, because when, you start and you're financially linked to a full-time job already, you don't have that same, hustle grind kind of mentality to get that bottom line to where you want it to be. And like, I have a business degree. I've always been very interested in business. Like I knew what I should have been doing, and I just wasn't doing it because, again, I wanted to, one of the things they talked about is being an affiliate owner can be a little lonely because you do it and you're part of the community and it feels great to be out there, in a class or coaching a class or whatever it is, a part of it. But then you do have to go do all of those other things that are very lonely. And unfortunately, because one thing is fun and one thing isn't until you reap the benefits from it, I think people avoid it. So you're not going, I'm speaking from personal experience right now, you are not going to be able to put anything into practice unless you put it into practice. Like having a ton of knowledge and not using it is not going to do you very much good. And I had that knowledge and I'm more interested now in like, okay, but how do I actually use it? How do I actually execute on this stuff? Because a lot of it is fairly straightforward. It's just not fun or sexy or whatever. But then when your bottom line goes, flying up, then it is fun. So I would just say that, for anyone that's running an affiliate, keep in mind that stuff that's sort of done in the shadows deserves the same amount of attention you would give your members and you would give, yourself in class. Or I care so much about being part of the community. You also have to care about that other stuff. And CrossFit can come out with that, education and the literature and all that, but knowing it's not going to be enough.
Yeah, you to like actively seek this stuff out and figure out like what you don't know. Find mentors, find people who help you. I mean, I've definitely found that.
Right, but I'm specifically saying you can go do all of those things and it will do nothing for your business. It's sort of like, can I slide the textbook under my head the night before? Like how when you have a ton of information, we live in the information age. You can get the same education that someone could get at like Harvard online through, if you really wanted to, that sort of thing. But how do you do something with it? How do you go out there and actually execute? That to me is a much more interesting question than how do I educate myself on what's a balance sheet and what's this and that. I understand that's prerequisite knowledge, but that part of it's pretty easy compared to putting it into practice.
To me, it's a behavior. So you start with the low-hanging fruit. What is the easiest thing that you've read that you could do to make your business better? And maybe that's, hey, I got to make sure that I always order the toilet paper on time, or I got to make sure that I have enough cleaning solution in my spray bottles. Like the low-hanging fruit is where I would start there. And then once you start to build that habit, which is something we've done now at both affiliates, it becomes easier and easier to keep finding the next thing to work on. Like I thought, one thing that Hunter's done really well here is like, all right, we haven't had a coach's evaluation in a really long time. It's time to put that back into practice. And that might not be where you start growing your business or thinking about how can I be better, but like we've kind of had iterations. And then it's like, part of it was early on, you and I developing that curriculum and say, how does this actually work the way we want it to? And not being afraid to say, hey, it's not perfect right now, but it's good enough to try and good enough to put it out there. And I think that's one thing that does happen to a lot of people is that like paralysis by analysis. They're like, oh my fucking God, there are 800 different things I have to do to make this business better. And that because their list is so long, they don't even try any of them. Start with the low hanging fruit. Start with the easiest one, because what you're trying to do is create a behavior where you're starting to make this adaptation and adopting new things that are different, that are not the, hey, here's how to coach a CrossFit class.
What did he say? Move fast and break shit. That was the Facebook
really
motto. Like that's a lot more important than being stuck in a room somewhere with a bunch of knowledge.
And I tell like,
can I radiate this through the walls and into everyone else and myself?
So I tell a lot of people when I started coaching, like I was literally given like the keys to the Ferrari and said like, don't fucking crash this thing over when I was still in Pennsylvania. And like, I had a bunch of affiliate classes now. If I went back and watched myself do that, I'd probably puke in my mouth and go, what the fuck was I doing? Like I am literally like driving fast and breaking shit right now because my 6 p.m. class started at 6:30 because I went over by so much. And like things that Hunter would like fucking hang me in the middle of the gym for, like I don't do those anymore. But because
Fucking go over by an hour, I will shoot you myself.
I'm telling you, there are a couple times where I definitely went over by at least 25 minutes.
You did it like 2 weeks ago.
By an hour? Get out of here. Fuck
an hour.
But at the same time, like when you start doing those things, you pick the easiest behavior, you look back on it, you reflect on it, and then you pass that information forward. So like to me, once we've figured out some of these things that made our business better, we started putting it out in the real world via Team Misfit. Like, here's what's worked for us. Now you guys can take what we've learned and hopefully put it into your business so you don't make the same mistakes or take as long to get from point A to point B like we did.
Right. I think I was trying to think about like how to explain to the general population why you should care about the business of the sport. Like if you're just a person who's out there.
The business of like the CrossFit Games?
Yes, the business of the CrossFit Games. And what came to mind for me, one of my dreams is for Sharpen the Axe or Misfit Athletics to sign an athlete to like a $50,000 a year contract, to pay someone a livable wage to go out there and execute and not think about all this other bullshit, right? So how could something like that possibly happen? We need, we're very dependent in both businesses, and our affiliates, so all three businesses, on the idea that more people are interested in CrossFit, more people are interested in the sport. That brings more customers to each business. Everything, kind of goes up. And then if you do pay that person, who could be the person right now wondering, I'm wondering, why do I give a shit about whether you make money or not? It's because I want to give it to you. I literally want to give that money to you because I know that if you were, deserving of that, then more people are going to want to buy Sharpen. You know what I mean? So like, to me, it's trying to get people to really buy into him saying, we could get, maybe we could get 1 million people at some point to do the open. Like that is going to benefit everyone. And while I won't go down the rabbit hole of trickle down economics, I don't want to start any political fights or anything like that. I don't believe in it, but I most certainly believe in it within a community. Like we are a bubble and we want to let people into our bubble and we want our bubble to grow. But like the idea that he's going to make a bunch of money and then it's not going to get passed down, like that's basically impossible. How could you grow CrossFit and how could you grow the sport of CrossFit and not give all of the people in the community more money? Like,
well, speaking of growth, has anybody here tried 4 scoops of Proper Fuel lately?
Have you tried it lately?
Have you tried it lately? And if you haven't tried it, if you're looking for that all-in-one inclusive supplement for that post-workout need, check out properfuel.co. Use the code word MISFIT. Check out that 4-scoop game. We call it the growth package. Check it out. We'll see you guys on the website, getting all you can
You'll see
from
me
growth.
on the website.
I like how you went.
This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Proper Fuel. Head to properfuel.co and use the code word Misfit to save on proper recovery, protein, carbs, electrolytes, creatine, digestive enzymes, if whey protein messes with your stomach. Sherb didn't get very much sleep
That's
last
what he
night,
said.
So we're just going to go. Yeah, that's exactly what he said. We're just going to
I knocked it out of the park. I know what you're talking about.
Nailed it.
Hunter, you were about to speak about my comment. Can you somehow make your brain go back to that?
No,
Good luck.
I think I can't.
Good luck.
It's been wiped clean. You just men in black you.
It's gone. No, I got nothing. I like how you went from. No, I was gonna say is I like how you went from screaming at everybody to like starting
Whispering.
to lull them to sleep. Like, and you are getting.
I'll
Sultry
see you on the
sound.
website.
You are getting
Sultry
very
sound of my
thirsty
voice.
for a nice chocolate milk beverage.
Oh boy. Okay. So, last but not least, we certainly opened with it, and I think we should close with it. Is just this idea of the comments that he made about the affiliates, right? So there was the whole like, are affiliates leaving? Are some people coming back? You know, we've touched a little bit on the business aspect and how they're going to try to educate and they're going to try to, you know, connect us affiliate owners both with each other and then potentially like, hey, this community is actually just a community of business owners. Let's talk to each other about what works in business, because one of the things that he talked about that you could tell was both part of who he is and that he did it on purpose. And for me, I think is really important for everyone is like, think differently, take any belief that you have, even if it's something you believe in the most in the entire world, and just try on the exact opposite. Like, how does that, you know, what does that do to your brain? Does it make you feel uncomfortable? If it does, why does it make you feel uncomfortable? Like, the more we learn to think differently and have new perspectives and, you know, talk to people who are in, you know, corollary businesses, but not necessarily affiliate owners, like you're going to get these ideas. Like, we know this because, you know, some of our, you know, 3 of our members own a capital management firm, and they're really able to come in here and just talk to us about things that could apply to our business that just no one has done yet.
It's just so refreshing to hear that that's the perspective of ownership now. It's no longer like my way or the highway, get on the tracks or get the fuck off the tracks, get out of the way, but to say how can we look out into the community at large and see how other people are having success and how can we take those lessons? I mean, one of the things I think you taught me was most valuable is like, you know, started following with Seth Godin's blog is just, if you read this and he'll apply things that don't have anything necessarily to do with CrossFit or fitness or health, but he just puts it out into the world like, hey, have you thought about this way? And I can't remember what the post was the other day, but it was, I think it's something about the difference between like actual knowledge and experience and how those things play off one another and how it's invaluable to have a bunch of knowledge, but if you can't deliver that knowledge, then it's basically useless.
Are you talking about the one that I posted, the persuasion?
Yeah, the persuasion one.
I mean,
a skill.
That's something that drives me absolutely insane is people have this knowledge and they have this desire and need to help other people, and they can't seem to put it into like a digestible package ever. And like, this can happen in interpersonal relationships. This can happen out in the gym. It's like, I have a really good idea and I'm going to convince you that it's a good idea. Most people are like, hey, here's this idea, eat it. Like, and it's
Wait,
like,
this doesn't work.
It's like, wait, you're scaring me. Like, is that really what I want? Like, do I really want to, you know, buy Proper Fuel if you're trying to, you know, I'm just kidding. So it's like he talks about the idea that like, and again, I mean, this is sort of just going back into putting, you know, ideas into practice. It's like, if you have this knowledge and you do have this desire to put it out there, like the art of persuasion is kind of lost right now. And like, people are just like, this is my opinion and this is how it is. And I want you to like it, even though I'm being mean to you, like that sort of thing. And that is stressful, and 2020 is stressful. And I think that the official sponsor of 2020 should be Pure Spectrum CBD, right?
Yeah.
If there ever was a time, if there ever was a year to
For
actually
every American to take CBD.
seriously, that should be, you know what? That should be the new stimulus. Okay. Here's what I'm recommending. This, if you're listening, Fauci or who, I don't even really know.
Steve.
Has he been fired yet? I don't know.
Not tomorrow.
Probably.
We're going to send out vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, and Pure Spectrum CBD to everyone. They probably do a lot more good for what's going on with coronavirus than giving, everyone another $600.
And a 1 month
Give someone
and a $169 to join your local CrossFit affiliate.
Or you can go to misfitathletics.com or SugarWad Marketplace to get 2 weeks for free. But all jokes aside, it's important to have something in your regimen that both actually pushes you into that rest and digest, and then also reminds you. There's something about when I take it out of my backpack at the end of the day to take it, I'm not only putting something that's physiologically going to make a change into my body, but I'm also telling myself it's time to take it down a notch. It's like, dude, you're at an 8. I'm going to need you at like a 3 so you can actually be back at an 8 tomorrow. And there's something psychologically for me, both with the idea that I'm taking it and it's doing something, but also that I'm recognizing every time I take that out that I need to calm the fuck down. PureSpectrumCBD.com. Use the code word Misfit to save. I think we've covered quite a bit here. It's probably, to the listeners, feels like we might be bouncing around a lot, but like there's after going through what we went through this summer and what we've been going through this whole year, like it was nice. I don't want to speak for you two, but for me, it was nice to sit down and hear something that was both refreshing and encouraging.
To me, it was just really good to get to know him as the direction of the company. Greg wasn't necessarily always in the public eye. Sometimes he would disappear and then he'd reappear for a couple of years and disappear again. But to have someone who wants to be essentially the leader of CrossFit, to love the methodology, to own an affiliate, to know what it's like to be in our shoes versus like, here's what you guys are going to do at your affiliate, was just, to me, the best part of that interview. And I agree that it bounced around a little bit. It went from the sport to affiliate to inclusion to what happened in the spring and the summer. But to me, it's just really encouraging to have someone who looks like he's positive at mostly all the time, and he's just excited to be a part of it. And to me, that's the most invigorating thing, because there were a while where I was texting you and being like, man, are we fucking out? Like, is this over? Like, this thing that we've committed our last 10 years of our life to, is it fucking like done? What's going to happen? So to have someone be able to swoop in at the 11th hour and right the ship, to me, is just super exciting, and I can't wait to see where it goes.
Yeah, I think I'm most excited at just the prospect of just growth in general for both the sport and the affiliates. Like I really hope that at some point in the reasonably near future, we get to the point where we can pay coaches and pay affiliate owners and pay those people. Like I can put a job out there, or have an athlete who comes into the gym and says, hey, I want to take my L1, I want to become a coach, and I'd be able to offer them, a $40,000-$50,000 a year salary to do that as their job, and not just be like a couple hours a week for, in your spare time because you really like it, but it's certainly not enough to quit your day job to do. That prospect is exciting to me. And I think, I won't jump the gun on it, but I think we're, at least what he's saying is going to send us toward that right direction, hopefully. And it's certainly on the affiliates a little bit too. You can't absolve yourself of the responsibility for that. If grandpa comes in and says like, hey, here's a check, like do what you want with it, you still have to be doing the right things to make it work.
Yeah, I'm
not to call Eric Roza grandpa, but you know what I mean.
He might take offense to that.
Yeah, sorry. Probably whoop my ass in Atlanta.
You'd have to do it.
Yeah.
Step one, do it.
Yeah, Step one would be do it. Yeah, I guess the final thoughts all around are just that this is a step in the right direction. We're not naive enough to think that everything has been fixed. It's more, we like the direction that things are heading, and we hope they continue to head in that way. And I just love the idea that we might be getting some new perspectives, because that's what's going to help us grow. That's what's going to help us change. That's what's going to help, again, like we need to find a new quote for this, but rising tides raise all ships. Like if every time someone adds to this pool, like everyone is going to benefit from it. You just have to make sure that you're looking for that.
Word.
All right, ladies and gents, that was the Misfit Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you to our show sponsors, Proper Fuel. While we cannot actually physically put ourselves into the website, we will see that you ordered and be hopefully as excited as a screaming ad reading Sherb. Properfuel.co for your complete post-workout nutrition solution. Use the code word Misfit to save on your first order. Sharpentheaxeco.com. use the code word unprepared to save. If you want anything that's on the site right now, you're going to want to buy it pre-Black Friday because, I don't know, like 12:04, we will have nothing. It doesn't matter how much we buy. No. Things get crazy. We post the GIF of the people like breaking the Target windows to like get in to get their, like, I don't know, Screaming Elmo or whatever it's called.
Screaming Elmo.
That's the name of it, I think.
How much for the Screaming Elmo?
Sharpentheexco.com. Use the code word unprepared to save and be ready for Black Friday. We got all the goods coming there. And last but not least, purespectrumcbd.com. Use the code word Misfit. As always, I am at Misfit Coach on Instagram. Let me know what you thought of the episode and let me know what you would like to hear next. And we will see you next week.